Welcome to another video. In this, I have no idea how long this is gonna take me. So normally I do like a week, but I want to read some books that intimidate me, like that scare me. And it could be because the subject from the book is a little bit intimidating, or the size, or just I don't know why I'm intimidated by this, but if I'm gonna show you which books I want to read in this video, you're gonna be like, this is gonna take you months. Even when I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna take me until like next year. That's not true, obviously, because I will try to read at least every day 100 pages so that I don't, that it won't take me too long to film this, but we shall see. Let me show you which books I want to read. Yeah, these are the 3 books that at the moment intimidate me the most. This one I've borrowed from my sister, and she gave it to me like months ago now, and she gave it to me when I was actually already heading into a reading slump. So I wasn't able to read it, so I really want to get into this. So yeah, this is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I've never read anything from Brandon Sanderson, but what I think, what my sister explained, is that this is one of the easier ones to start the whole Brandon Sanderson journey. I'm excited and scared. It's a little bit thick. But compared to Priory of the Orange Tree, it's not that thick. I don't know. Priory of the Orange Tree, and this is Warbreaker. Yeah. Magic as you have never seen it before. I'm really curious. I've seen a lot of people being absolutely obsessed with all of the Brandon Sanderson books, and I feel like I'm feeling left out, okay? I want to know what the hype is all about. But I also just really want to give this back to my sister. I feel awful for having this for so many months. Then we have The Priory of the Orange Tree. It's because it's this thick that I'm scared. Yeah, I've seen videos of people reading this in one day back in the day, which is insane, reading this in 24 hours. Like, why would you even try that? But everyone said it's actually not that difficult to read. It's very easy to understand. It goes very fast. So I probably shouldn't be as intimidated with this. I'm very intrigued. I'm scared that it's going to be difficult. But whenever I read it back, I'm like, ah, this is amazing. This is literally the only thing that it says on the back. A world divided, a queendom without an heir, and an ancient enemy awakens. And every time I read, I'm like, yes, this sounds so good. Like, you don't need much on the back of the book, to be honest. Like, just give me those 3 sentences and I'm excited. But then looking at the book and I'm like scared. Also, I know that this has a lot of POVs, and I'm a little bit intimidated by that, because am I going to have enough brain cells to understand all of the POVs, know who they are, know what they do? I don't know, but we're gonna see. I'm just really excited to finally actually pick this up. And this one is on my February TBR. And then we have The Nightingale, a little bit thinner than the rest. But this one intimidates me because it's about World War II. I'm from the Netherlands. I've learned a lot about the World War. I'm really scared that this is going to be too much for me. But I also really wanted to try it out and see how I would feel about it after having read so many books where there's also war, like fantasy books that have a lot of war in them too. Plus with the knowledge that I know from the World War II. I've also heard that everyone cries about this. I'm a crier, so when I read the back I feel like I'm already wanting to cry, so that's not a good sign. Well, I mean, I'm really scared for these books, but I also just really want to read these ones. I'll see you when I have an update. I am at chapter 20, which is on page 208. For some reason, normally a chapter starts on like a new page. In this one, it doesn't. And you know what? I don't mind it, because otherwise it would have been even thicker. Do I have any updates? A little bit. Like I said, I'm now 208 pages in, and I feel like I'm just barely understanding the story. We're slowly stepping our toes into what's going on, what's happening. I'm finally feeling like I understand a little bit of what's happening. It took me a little bit to understand the whole magic system with the breath, and that you can take people's breath. There are awakeners that steal breath. For as far as I'm understanding that, I'm not sure actually. We have multiple plot lines. We have a plot line of Vasher, who's supposed to be like a rebel person, leader of the rebels. We're having a POV, or not a POV, but we're having a plot line of Viviana, which is the eldest princess who was supposed to marry the God King, but that didn't happen. She has now gone to, well, she's trying to get her sister out of this marriage in a way, but I'm only like literally at the beginning, where she's literally just learning everything. And even that, she's also barely understanding anything what's going on. And then we have the plot line of the youngest daughter, who's now with the God King, who needs to consummate the marriage, which is not happening so far. And it's kind of, in the beginning I was like, why are we having so many chapters of just the same thing happening over and over again? Like, nothing's happening in that room where they need to consummate the marriage. I finally got a chapter where something hilarious happened. Like, I'm liking this character. I already did in the beginning, because she's kind of like she's a little bit more rebellious. Like, you can be a princess and like very formal, very cute, very not cute, but very formal, and she's a little bit more like outgoing and just wants to see the most of the world that she can. And I love that about her. I love that she's like, I mean, now she's stuck inside of these walls, so I'm assuming that at some point she's gonna go a little cray cray. Do we have anything else that happens? Oh, and there's this one god called Light Song, and he's the god of bravery or something, and he is so confused with why he is a god. He doesn't understand why he got a second life. Yeah, we just have those kind of POVs. It's not POVs because we're reading about, not in their POV, but plot lines. But we're having those plot lines, and I am really enjoying it so far. But I also don't have the feeling that I've just read like 200 pages. Like, for me, it feels like I literally just read like 30 pages, like I do with a normal book. It doesn't feel overwhelming. That's what I'm trying to say, I think. I finally finished Warbreaker. This was such a good story. Like, I really enjoyed having the different kind of plot lines that we were seeing. We had two sisters that we were following, which I loved the conflicting feelings they had towards their new duty. The eldest princess was supposed to marry the God King, which didn't happen, so the youngest sister had to marry suddenly the God King. And that happened mainly because their father didn't want to lose his eldest daughter because she would be a better heir to their kingdom instead of to the God King. So obviously when the youngest sister, who's a very, not rebellious, but more a free kind of soul, got chosen, it was a bit like, that's weird. And when she came to the God King, everyone was also a bit confused, like why did they choose the youngest daughter? Like they had spies on the eldest daughter, they had spies on the second daughter, but they never had spies on the youngest daughter. So it was kind of like, what are they playing at? And they, by the way, the God King and their kingdom had to form an alliance together. I don't really remember exactly why, because other things started to happen that was way more intriguing. Because in the meantime, you learn about why the God King is, he's kind of like a puppet to the priest around him, and this rebellious youngest daughter, or not rebellious, is starting to learn things because, yeah, she doesn't really like to hold back and she just wants to know what's going on with this God King. Like they try to consummate a marriage and he's just not doing anything, he's just sitting there. And he himself is very confused on why nothing's happening, why she isn't pregnant. Because that's the whole reason, because they need a new God King at some point, because the heir of the God King becomes obviously the God King. A very interesting plotline. I thought that she was very funny because she just kind of spoke her mind, and that was just something new, something different. And also what was very different was that the God King is, because he's like a puppet because of the priests, he doesn't really know a lot of things. Like he's very confused in his world. He doesn't know how to read. He doesn't know how to write, I believe, or at least she helps him at some point. She helps him with reading for him his favorite children book that his mom read to him. In the meantime, they start to communicate, which is obviously not the meaning, because now the God King is forming opinions of his own, and that's something that their priests obviously don't want. And with the priests, there are different kind of priests. So some of them are actually good and want all the best for the God King and their belief, because the God King is obviously their god. And there are these priests that are rebellious and are trying to, yeah. And then in the meantime, we also have this plot line of Lightsong, which is a very funny character, to be honest. Like, he sounds super lazy, but he's actually like, what is he? The god of bravery, I believe. And he's, you know, he doesn't really feel very brave. He feels just very lazy. He has these dreams that are kind of like a war that's going on. And he's actually supposed to say these dreams, but because he doesn't want them to be true, because everyone sees him as like the god, like whatever he dreams is what's gonna happen in the future, and he doesn't want to dream about a war. He doesn't want a war happening, so he kind of holds back in that. While in the meantime, there's also this other rebel that is trying to find its way into the castle, and at some point he starts working with the eldest daughter, and it's just a lot of plot lines. I can sound very confusing for some. Let me just say, maybe you should read it because I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The different plot lines were just great. It was fun to read. It went by super fast. It took me about a week or so to read this, which means that I read about 100 pages every single day. And in the end, I finished it at 1 a.m. So, yeah, not the smartest decision, but it was just so good and I couldn't stop. And I knew that if I was going to try to sleep, I'm going to be thinking about the book and how it's going to finish, how it's going to end, because I'm curious. Like, is the God King finally realizing that not all priests are you know, having very nice and good thoughts for him, or is he going to be killed? Yeah, you also read about other gods, but not as much. I don't know, it's definitely like a court of gods, and you kind of see snippets of what other gods are doing, and there's this one god that, you know, is trying to prepare for a war that's happening, and yeah. it's all of that that's going on. It was a lot, but it was so easy to, because the writer really takes you with the entire story, like it takes you with all of these people, and having the different plot lines just makes you very intrigued about like, oh, what's happening with that person at that moment, what's happening with that one. So I don't know, it was just a really good one. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, 4 stars. We're gonna move on to the Nightingale, which I'm really scared of because I think it's gonna be heartbreaking, and I don't know if I'm ready for it, but I'm also too curious to not do it, you know. Just have to. Okay, I need to relax. If my dog notices that I'm gonna cry, she's gonna lick my entire face, and I don't think that should happen right now. Okay. I just finished this book. Um, 5 stars. Just 5 stars. Like, how can you not give this book 5 stars? As a Dutchie, as a Dutch person, we've all learned about the World War, and I hated those history lessons because we would be shown pictures about the Holocaust, and I know a lot about the World War. I may not know specifics, I may not know all of the dates and stuff like that, but pictures and seeing those faces in the pictures, I will always remember those. I cannot forget any of those pictures or things I've seen or movies I've seen. So reading this, a lot of the stories that you see about the war, it's always like there's a lot of movies about the war, about fighting, about guns and bombs and stuff like that, which that happened, but we are forgetting the females. We are forgetting what those hardworking females had to endure too. We're reading about these 2 sisters and they're completely opposites. One of them is a very polished, very rule, like a rule follower, and the other one is more like, why do I need to eat with certain spoons and forks, and who freaking cares? And she's been kicked out of multiple schools and stuff like that, and that's what you read about in the beginning of this book, which is the younger one. And the older one has a husband, a child, has made this beautiful, loving family for herself. I mean, guys, I can't even speak. I'm literally like all overwhelmed still. I literally just finished this like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, I'm just gonna pick up this camera because yes, I do feel horrible, and I've cried, but mainly because the ending is so beautiful and so full of love. They're finally able to talk about what happened and remembering what happened all of those years ago in the World War, and I think that's just very beautiful, because how, after you endure all of that, are you able to go on living? Like, that's just beyond me. But then I'm also like, what else would they be doing? Like, sit on a corner and cry about what they've seen, what they did? Like, they still need to wake up, they still need to feed their children, they still need to cook, they still need to work. I don't know, I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like everyone should read this. Like I said, we know about the soldiers that went to war. We know about the fights that happened. But we also needed to know about what happened with the people that were left behind. The families that were left behind. The families who got taken. The people who saw their best friends being killed, being taken by trains not knowing what's gonna happen, seeing Jewish children being killed. A beautiful book, a 5-star. I'm gonna remember the Nightingale forever. One ducky here, other ducky here. Oh, so cute too. Oh, you're so cute. We're having a sleepover. I still have not finished the Priory of the Orange Tree. My lord, my god. I am at page 507, so I need another 300 pages. It's really horrible to say, but it's only now that I'm like interested. Yeah, I'm just now feeling like things are picking up, things are making sense for me a bit more. We're going more towards the action right now, and there was a lot of action, but I feel like I just didn't really understand what the whole thing was. I feel like I just don't have enough brain cells for this book, if I'm honest, but I'm happy I'm pushing myself through it. But this is definitely not a 5-star. This is like, it's been 2 weeks of me reading this. Oh, that's also one of the reasons why I haven't really been invested in this story. It's because every chapter starts with east or west. It just takes me out of the story, because then I read like 2 sentences and I'm like, who am I reading again? So it's just like a little bit confusing that you're just like, you don't have the name of the person you're actually reading about. It just takes me out of the story. That also makes it like easier to put the book away, just because I'm like not fully into it. It's just not flowing very nicely for my head, and I feel like I'm one of the few that thinks like that, because I've only seen really high reviews of this book, and maybe it's only going to get better and better from this, but it's never going to become a 5-star anymore, because I had to fight to get myself to 500 pages, and now I feel like that fight is over, because I'm like, okay, well, I am intrigued now, because now I'm going to bed and I'm like, but I do want to read at least like a few more chapters. Anyway, I'm happy it's getting better. I'll probably see you again once I've completely finished it and I can finally end this video. That's been taking me about a month now, I think. Anyway, we are going to bed right now. I'm gonna be reading in bed, obviously, for a little bit. Like I said, we'll see you guys when I finish my book. So, say good night. We're gonna have a little sleepover. I love you. She's such a teddy bear. I love you. Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a drowsy but beautiful day, because I finally finished the Priory of the Orange Tree. "804 pages, and I can't even I feel so bad saying this. I did not enjoy it. Yeah, this was 804 pages and 3 weeks, no, 2.5 weeks of struggling. That's what this book was for me. Let me just explain why I love reading. I love reading because I feel, in books that I really enjoy, I feel connected with the characters, and I get upset when they're sad, and I get happy when they're happy. And yes, there were moments that I was like, "Aw," but there were so little. Such a tiny moments in such a long book of just me thinking that people are cute or that the dragons were cute, that it didn't really make me enjoy reading it. So because I did not enjoy myself, I'm giving this 2.5 stars, and that's very low for me. I love fantasy. I am a fantasy reader, but I mean, I can't say I've read like the most amazing fantasies ever, but this just wasn't my cup of tea, I think. And that's okay. I felt a little bit embarrassed when I finished it yesterday, and I kept going because everyone said that it was so amazing and they wanted to talk about the end. And I was like, okay, well, I'm 500 pages in now. I only need 300. I think that was when I last spoke to you guys, which was 3 days ago by now. And I feel like the ending was so fast. Like, I think it has to do with the writing style, because every time I was reading like something that was more action-packed, I felt like I wasn't really there with them on the battlefield, and the battlefield was only like 50 pages, barely. I don't know, it was not enough for me, that I was like, we build up to this battle that's coming, and we all know it's coming at this point. At 500 pages we were like, okay, well, it's definitely coming because, well, things happened, the world is changing, it's gonna happen. It's been 1,000 years, it's gonna happen now. And then the battlefield is like so short, and it was almost too easy, and nobody died. Can I just say that? This was a book where nobody really died. There was one person that was like, oh, this is really sad, why is this person dying? Apart from that, the other people that died, I was like, okay, well, I didn't really read much about them, so I don't really know them as much. And the things that I read, they weren't very close with anyone. So I just didn't feel anything about it. And for me, that's when a book is good, if I feel along with the characters. And for this, it literally just felt like I was reading. And I do not like thinking that I read a book just because I'm reading. I want to feel immersed. I want to feel like I'm a part of their group. I want to be there with them, and I didn't get that. I'm happy I finished it. I'm happy it's not on my TBR anymore. Okay, anyway. The other books that I did read, I obviously did enjoy them. Because I first started off with Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This was one of those intimidated books because the writer has so many books, and it's just overwhelming to be like, am I going to read that? And yes, I will be reading much more of this writer. I want to read all of his books. I gave this 4 stars. Is it something that stays in my mind a lot? No, but whenever I look at this book, I'm like, I did have a good time. I really enjoyed it, which is why I gave it 4 stars. And it was also super easy to read. It was really like, it really took you along for the ride. It made you feel for the characters. And it was different. It was so different from all the other books that I've read that I was like, I'm enjoying this whole thing. Maybe I was even looking at some other books last time. I literally bought like a few books. Oops. And every time I saw something with a god on it, I was like, And that's only because of this book. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I totally understood both sisters' sides of this. I understood their insecurities, their anger, mainly from the other sister who suddenly had her whole life turned around, and that was like, well, what happened? I totally understood that point of view. Yeah, I found the main god. What's the name again? Oh yeah, the God King. I kind of pitied him, because I was like, damn, these people really didn't educate him in any way. They took away most of the things, and that's just really sad. So it made me feel definitely some sad feelings for the characters, but also some very powerful feelings. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed this one, and I loved how easy it was to read, and it makes me also a little bit less intimidated for the rest of his books, because I'm just like, this was so easy to read. Like, it was so fast paced, and this is not a short book. This has about 652 pages, so it's only about 150 pages short of this. But this went by so quickly. I read this in, I think, 5 days or something, but it went by really fast, and every time I was like excited to read more about it. So I definitely think if you want to try a Brandon Sanderson and you're intimidated too by the amount of books that he wrote, I definitely think that Warbreaker is a very good start. And then I read The Nightingale, and 5 stars. 5 stars. I still think about it, and every time I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, what a trauma. What a trauma we went through in this book. But what a powerful ending it had. What a powerful females that we followed. What an immensely scary time, the Second World War, obviously. I mean, every war is a super scary time, and I can't even imagine being there. But this definitely like opened my eyes a bit more to the people that were there in the background. How scary it must have been. And these women are just like amazing, because not only do you see one sister helping Jewish people or helping the English soldiers to get out of France and to, you know, climb mountains just to make sure that nobody will know, because the countries around them were also obviously like scared of these people and they didn't want anything to do with it, or they were having their own war with Germany. And then to be reading about that journey that one sister went through, but then the other sister was stuck with a soldier in her house, and how scary must that have been? Like, you can't just say no because you're gonna be shot. And what's gonna happen with your children then? And these husbands are gone, and they just have to fend for themselves right now. And obviously, like, there's barely any food, and there are people that are asking for help because people had to travel away from their homes because they were getting bombed. And it just, I don't know, it was just one of the strongest stories I've ever read. And the ending really, I don't know, the ending just, it was really sad, but like so beautiful too. I mean, I obviously can't really say anything about the ending, but it was sad but beautifully, and it was easy written, and I really think that everyone should read this book. Like, I really recommend it, really do. If you already have this on your bookshelves, definitely give it a read. So, all by all, we read 3 of my most intimidated books that I own. Obviously, there are probably more books that I'm intimidated by, but these were the ones that like literally were at the top of my mind. I was like, yeah, these are difficult. We did have some good books in this, obviously, because I mean, we have a 5-star and a 4-star, and then sadly a 2.5-star, but I am so happy that they're off my TBR and that I can move on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.